Welcome to another episode of A Servant's Heart podcast, where you will hear about women loving others through service, fun times, helping others, and opportunities to join us ladies of the Statesville Women's Club to also be a servant with heart.
Well, we're here for another episode of A Servant's Heart podcast, and we've got Shelly Arthur here and
Dana White.
All right. Well, thanks for coming and listening to us. Today we're featuring Angel Wings Foundation, Kimberly Wasson.
Hey there.
Director of this ministry, which serves boys and girls in the Statesville area with tutoring, mentoring, clothing closet, back-to-school shoes, field trips, and lots of encouragement and love.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you. You did a good job with that. I appreciate that.
Well, awesome.
We're so glad to have you here with us.
I appreciate the invitation. Absolutely. Thank you guys for doing this. This is amazing.
So, in the past we've done kind of segments, but we've kind of broken away from that concept. But so one of them was women making a difference. And my God, if that doesn't just fit you to the bill, because you are really making a difference with this foundation.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about Angel Wings. I think you've brought some slides for us to look, and let's talk about how you got started.
Okay. About this time, 10 years ago, had a phone call from my sister that my niece was at the hospital. She was very, very ill, and I'm going to try to do a short version of this. Do not cry. We know how that went last week. Yeah. Got to the hospital. My 18-year-old niece had a cardiac event. She had heart disease. Her heart was failing. They told us she had already at some point had a heart attack, and she was just sick. Very, very ill. They shipped her down to Carolina's Medical Center in Charlotte, put her on a heart transplant list. She was on that list for about 2 weeks, and long story short, she had a stroke and passed away before they could do anything with the transplant, and she was gone.
Wow, that was quick.
Yes,
So
that
sorry.
was my only niece, my middle sister's daughter. That was definitely the hardest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. So I could only imagine how she felt and how other mothers feel when they have sick children or have children that have passed away. And through a lot of prayer and just really trying to understand what was happening, we were about to try to do something for her birthday that August. And I just kept praying, and we were having this community celebration that we were going to honor her with, and have some kids come out. Her name was Simone Wasson. So if you can see on the screen, this is my beautiful baby.
She is beautiful.
And she never got to graduate. So we were celebrating a lot. She went to Statesville High School. She didn't have an opportunity to graduate. So we were going to make this a celebration of Naya. So we were at Kimbrough Park in Belmont, and here in Statesville. And just doing some things with the kids, and there was this little boy, and it was hot. It was August. It was right around her birthday, which is August 22nd. It was nasty. It was horrific. And there was this little boy out there. We had a basketball tournament, and this little boy had been out there like playing basketball like all day in these jeans. And I was like, well, sweetie, go home and get you some shorts. And he was like, I don't have any shorts. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And, he was helpful. He didn't have any money. We had food and things out there. So he just kind of kept coming back. And he was like, can I get something to drink? Can I do this? Yeah. So he was kind of helping me, clean up, because I'm just that type of person. My kids will tell you, if you ask me for anything, I'm going to ask you for something. I'm going to tell you to do something before I give it to you. I'm going to give it to you, but you're going to have to earn it. And I was like, when you pick up the trash for me, I'll give you a drink. If you do this, I'll do this. He was like, okay, sweet kid. But it was like all of a sudden God just kept placing these people in my life, little things like that. So I had been at home, and I was just really praying, just trying to understand, again, what am I supposed to do with this? I physically do not understand how. I mean, she's 18. She's a good kid. She's in high school. She played volleyball. She never got a chance to do anything. And what do we do with this?
Right.
And just as clear as day, God just came to me and he said, she's with me and she's okay. You can't do anything for her, but there are so many other children
For the least of these.
that need you.
Right.
Yeah, for the least of these.
And
Take
I
care of
woke
my
up-
babies.
Yep. And I was rejuvenated and invigorated and excited. And the very next week, we planned a back to school bash. We did book bags. We did book bags. We did haircuts because we saw down there that day
Right.
that it was like the week before school was starting, and a lot of these kids, I swear, looked like they hadn't had a haircut
No, that's
since.
a huge
Right.
need.
Yeah, since
Right.
school went out. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is like bad. So started talking to some of the barbers and some of the different people in the community to get them to sponsor haircuts. So we did a haircut and hairdo drive. Because a lot of times people will do the haircuts for the boys, but nobody
Right.
does
But
anything
not-
for the girls.
right.
And so we started doing that. We noticed the need for shoes. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
It was just all of a sudden like an influx. I was thanking God for it because it kept me busy.
So Angel Wings Foundation was born, right? We got a slide on that.
Yep.
And you're serving youth 0 to 18 years of age. Wow.
That's a large spread,
Yeah.
age
Yes.
spread.
And
Right.
we say so children to me are important. And so
Right.
we say children, if there is any family that has a child in the family at all, we help. Sometimes
great.
I think that
That's
people,
wonderful.
oh, well, we're going to help this age group. We're going to help this. We're going to do
Right.
that. And there was just not a target group because we've had people that have come through that need baby beds. They need strollers. They need car seats. They need so much.
So you are really fulfilling that for the least of these.
We try
taking
to fill in
care
the
of
gap.
that.
I always tell people we try to fill
That's
in the
awesome.
gap between
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, between DSS and the shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people get stuck. They get into a rut sometimes.
Right.
And basically, if you look at a household, oftentimes you can tell a family is struggling by looking at the children.
Sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And,
Yeah.
people think that these kids don't go through these things. If you're a family that's going through anything, these kids are going through these same things with the families, whether it's divorce, whether it's poverty, abuse, whatever it may be.
That's
These children are
exactly
going
right.
through this event with this family. So
Yep.
whatever that need is for a child, and I tell people all the time with volunteers, they're like, oh, well, their parents need to do better and they could do this and they could do that. That is not the child's fault.
No, it's not.
It is not that child's
No.
fault that they were born into this family and that their parents aren't stepping up or,
Right.
or whatever, or
Right.
their parents are in a bind.
So
not their fault.
So specifically, the Angel Wing Foundation, you're doing mentoring, tutoring, providing. It says we work with youth to expose them to new ideas. So, and that's through mentoring, right? Because, bringing them out of those traumatic situations. The world is full of trauma, right? Nowadays, it seems
Right.
like we go from crisis to
Right.
crisis,
Right.
and that's in the home
Right.
as
It
well as
is.
locally,
Absolutely.
federally, and worldwide.
Absolutely.
And what a great way to just kind of help put the fire out, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to share a story just in general. This little girl, when I met her, was probably 11.
Uh-huh.
She was 11 years old. She was at the park that day.
Oh, my
really
gosh.
funny.
Yeah.
She was at the park that day. She was one of those kids that was just kind of hanging around, did not know her, but beautiful, beautiful spirit.
Oh my gosh, what a pretty smile. too.
Beautiful.
Beautiful smile.
It was 3 of them, so it was 2 girls and a boy. And the one thing that I just remember about them this particular day was that I thought she was about 7. She was a little girl, really small, and she had plaits in her hair. Period. And well, when I got to talking to her, she was 13 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, she was in middle school.
And she looked like she was 7. Wow.
Her Yes, she was very, very small.
Small.
And so just really trying to, very, very shy, like incredibly shy. You know, I kind of kept reaching out to her and trying to get her to come and, you know, talk to me because she was just kind of not athletic. She wasn't playing. Her sister was playing. Her brother was playing. She was just kind of standing around. And had a great opportunity to talk to her, introduce myself to her. And again, like I said, school was starting the next week. And I was like, hey, what are you getting for school? Are you excited? Are you ready to go back? And she was like, no, you know, kind of down. And I'm like, what, you don't want to go back to school? She was going back as an 8th grader. And she was just kind of ho-hum. Well, through that conversation, I kind of know some people that know her. So they kind of told me what their family situation was. And she was living with grandma, like right up the street. Grandma was elderly, had some knee problems, had recently hurt her knee, was out of work. And basically, they weren't getting anything for school. So a lot of times it's exciting to say, oh, you're going back to school, you're going back to school. And everybody's excited. And she's sitting there looking like, I don't want to go back to school.
I don't want to go to school.
That's scary for me. I'm going to 8th grade.
I'm just gonna say
Middle school.
Middle school
is brutal,
Yes.
y'all.
Very
if you
brutal.
haven't, if you don't have a middle school experience, I
Yes.
mean, I do.
Yes.
I remember that
Yes.
was years ago,
Yes.
and it hasn't gotten any better.
No, and it's brutal more so, I think, on girls.
Girls.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it is
It
worse
is.
on girls.
Yeah.
And a 13-year-old with plaited hair, I can
And
only
little, too.
imagine.
Yeah.
And
Right.
small.
Right. So she was,
Yeah.
you could just, like self-esteem wise,
Right.
she would, you could have knocked me over with a feather when she told me how old she was,
Right.
just because she acted very young too. And long story short, I reached out to Grandma and I just asked Grandma if we could help with their school supplies and clothes and things for school. So rallied the troops, had an opportunity to, it was several family members and just people had their hair, this boy's haircut, which he was one of those ones that looked like he hadn't had a haircut since school went out, but she couldn't drive.
Right.
And Grandma couldn't drive. Well, Grandma didn't have a license, period. So she didn't drive at all.
couldn't drive.
Yeah, and I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And so getting the 2 girls, we had their hair done, beautiful hairdo. She is doing so well now, and we keep up with people. So after that, you know, we stayed with them that year. I think we did Christmas for them that year. Making sure that they had the supplies and things that they needed. And that's one of the unique things that I think that our organization does. People that need things often don't ask for anything.
Right.
And so,
Because they almost become invisible. That's why I was thinking in my mind, and her name is Shakaya. You know, I remember being young like that too. And I remember that it was easier to be invisible than to stand out because then you weren't a target.
Exactly.
And I think that for a lot of these families, they, rather than being judged or whatever, it's easier to just be invisible and not be seen
Absolutely.
as not as a parent or a family taking care of children. Be invisible so you're not judged
period.
for not being able to provide for your family,
Well, and
which
it's
a lot of times it's
embarrassing.
not right.
Well, it's embarrassing.
It is.
And these were definitely not people that didn't work, that didn't try. So when
Right,
you're
exactly.
not working
Yeah, it's
and you
awful.
can't take care of basically your household, let alone buy school clothes and
Right.
thinking about hair. But again, these children are the ones that are suffering. And so a lot of times these are great families. These are good people. They work hard. They're doing everything that they can, and they just need a little bit of support.
They
So
just
being
can't
able
get
to,
by.
being able to come in and have somebody sponsor each one of the kids with 3 or 4 outfits and a pair of shoes and a hairdo was huge. This little girl right now, she graduated about 3 years ago. She is living in
How
Winston-Salem.
exciting.
She works. The fact that she moved, when I tell you she
Right.
would barely go out of the house.
That's huge.
Yes.
Wow.
So the
Gosh.
fact that she moved and she was confident enough to be able to fly out on her own
Launch.
because she
Wonderful.
was, oh my God, she was just like, she was our baby. So even when we started tutoring,
Right.
because these same kids were also in my first tutoring program.
Okay.
So we kept up with this family for like 7 years. But she's just amazing. And like I said, she was definitely one of the ones that she shocked and surprised me. And I love whenever I see her. I mean, I'm just inspired. Her brother is graduating this year.
Nice.
Her younger sister graduated too. And I mean, it's just doing great.
That's awesome.
You're giving me chills.
There,
Kim.
when and grandma had her knee surgery about 3 years later. She's recuperated. She's back at work. She's doing great.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
it's they just needed help.
Right.
And the other person I just want to talk about real quick, another little girl, her name is Patrice Miller, and Patrice was supposed to be here with me today.
Oh,
So
okay.
Patrice
Yeah,
is
you
28
mentioned that.
years old, and Patrice is my chair of Angel Wings Foundation.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
She is simply amazing. Same thing, met this little girl, so I've been doing this for a long time. Whether it was founded or not.
Right.
I met her when she was 8 years old. She came into the gym one day with volleyball, and she stood there, and I'm just standing there looking at her like, why are you here? I was a volleyball coach. She was timid. She was bashful. She was shy. She's looking at the ball. I was like, oh, Lord, what are we going to do with this little girl? Literally, she was a little chunky little girl. She was just very out of sorts. And so I kind of took her under my wing, and I was like, hey, we're going to do this. Really timid, that same thing, that timid thing. Really timid, very unsure of herself. Long story short, she has graduated with her Bachelor in Science degree in pharmacy. She is,
That is
amazing. She is now
amazing.
traveling the country, working with multiple. The fact that she would get on an airplane. When I tell you the way this little girl started and the way she finished, kind of same thing. Mom graduated from Statesville High School. She was a high school graduate, had 2 girls. She was just very, like I said, she worked, but she just wasn't into sports and things, and period. She worked. And so this little girl would bring her clothes and hide her clothes in the trunk. And I would be like, well, Patrice, you don't have anything to wear? She'd be like, yes, I do. And come stay at the house like every weekend. So long story short, this little girl made herself a part of my family, which is why I wanted her to be here. And she is so amazing. She's participated in the Miss Statesville pageant. She graduated from South Iredell, went to Campbell University, got her degree.
Yes.
She was the first one in her family to do that. And then going to Campbell, which was a private school, they were like, okay, well, why are you going to do that? Why are you going to do this? And she is amazing. Like, she's truly amazing. And literally, she's in New York. She's not back yet. She's in New York City, working.
Wow.
And long story short, I just had to tell that story because she was supposed to be here.
That
But
is such
she
a-
works for me, and she is amazing.
That story just goes to show that with a little bit of nurturing and a little bit of love, these children that people call throwaways are not. No child is a throwaway.
Or, a lot of people say, oh, that's a lost cause.
Yeah,
That family is just like
Right.
that.
Exactly.
They're not going to do
Right.
anything.
they
Period.
just need a little lift.
That's right.
They just need that little lift, and sometimes they need something a little extra
Yeah.
Right.
that they can't provide,
And
and
sometimes they can't see it.
they don't know that they need it even.
So that exposure,
Right.
getting them out of their circle.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely.
all I know is
Absolutely.
this community, and the only person here is they're going to tell me to go get a job at this factory, or they're going to tell me
Right.
to go
Well,
work
'cause
at this
that's-
restaurant.
that's their
because that's
circle.
what they
Right.
know. So
Yeah.
exposing these children through field trips and through people coming in and talking and different sponsors and events and activities, we have a relationship with the YMCA. The little boy, is he in that picture?
Yeah, we're going to go to the next
The little boy
slide.
that's in the picture with me, that's standing behind me,
Right.
petrified of water.
Right.
But we didn't know that.
Oh.
So I had a relationship with the YMCA. We went to the YMCA. When he was like 6 feet tall in the 6th grade. So we're like, why are you afraid? You can stand up in the water. But when you're talking about exposing children to things that they're not typically exposed
Did
to.
he learn how to swim?
Yes.
Awesome.
And does an amazing job. The little girl that's in the top picture, she ran for student council last year.
Oh, wow.
She was at Statesville High School. She was also one of those kids that was just very bashful, very shy, just wouldn't get out of her comfort zone, was in her brother's shadow because he was an athlete. And we have people come in and talk to our kids, like Breon Borders. We've had the DA come in. We've had the Sheriff's Department come in. We've had, and the Sheriff's Department comes in and talks about drugs. They talk about the Pregnancy Resource Center, talks about abstinence. A lot of people get in trouble, again, because if you're around people that are exposing you to things and you think that that's the right thing to do.
Or normal.
Or normal.
It's okay
Yes.
to
So
be
when
pregnant, you know, at 15 or whatever.
Yes. Or everybody in my family has a baby by 18, 19, 20. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so when you are exposed to people that are not doing that and you see how far they can go if you don't do that, and that your family may not be quote unquote normal, or the people around you may not be what's quote unquote normal, when you can see a way out period.
Yeah.
When you can't see a way out, it's hard to get out.
It is that's a very good point. If you can't see that there's hope, or you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then you don't even know maybe that there is a tunnel.
You don't.
Right.
And so that I was looking at what's coming up on the next slide, and you're talking about why do you do this, and the mentoring piece is so big.
Right. Of course,
we started it as a living legacy to Naya Simone.
Right. Right.
Just because she didn't get to live a life. So blessing these children, we would always have an opportunity to know that her life made a difference.
Right.
And the mentorship, and I see the last one was protect. And that's where the love comes in.
It is. So that love comes in, and like I said, you're standing in the gap with a child that they may not even think they need protection.
Right.
And a lot of times they don't need what we typically call protection.
Right.
But when I'm at school and I'm failing everything, and then you are looking at me like, oh, you need to be excited about being here and hold your head up, and they're sitting there like, no, God, this is hard.
I hate this.
This is another place for somebody to torture me. I hate school. I'm not doing well. The teachers are fussing. My parents are fussing. I can't do this work. And I'm struggling. So when I say protect, it means stand in the gap. Meaning we started this as tutoring. But when we were tutoring we started this with mentoring. So when we were mentoring these kids, one of the things that we started to run to, their grades were kind of crappy.
Right.
And so again, you don't want to be seen. No. So the kid that is standing in the back of the group, the kid that shies away and just doesn't say anything. You ask them, hey guys, and I'm a rewarder. So I'm like, hey guys, I got some gift cards. Let me see your report card. Da 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 da. And it's the kid. I don't want no gift card. I'm standing in the back of the room. I don't want nothing. I know I can't get it. Period. I'm going to stand back here.
Try? That's exactly
So those were the ones that we gravitated to, and we gather, and we just started to realize that education piece was huge. So the local church, I've been going to Cochran Street, which is where we hadn't met before, which is so funny. And we were working with Church and Police Coalition with an amazing pastor, and started tutoring up at Cochran Street. Then we started tutoring at Shiloh, which is where I met a lot of these children. And then later on, it morphed into the school system. We still do those same things. Wherever we see a need, if we see children, I've seen a little boy, his shoes were so small that his toe prints were in the top of the shoe.
Oh,
that is...
Same thing, middle school boy. But because these were name brand shoes, he liked them.
He wanted to keep
He
them.
wanted to wear the name brand shoes, but they were too little.
To fit in.
Right.
But it's more important to fit in and be uncomfortable than to wear non-name brand shoes that fit and are comfortable.
Right.
So this poor boy suffered, because I have feet problems. So I know how uncomfortable those shoes must have been for him. And can you imagine walking around campus all day and then playing PE in shoes that don't fit? And, nobody's going to notice that.
It's a silent struggle.
It is. So when I say that God began to place these kids in my life, this little boy I met at Cochran Street. And you'll know who it is if I say his name. I don't want to, because he's still here locally.
Right.
But there were people that I would just reach out to and just be like, hey, I got this little boy, he needs his haircut. And on the slide,
Right.
you'll
So
see
the
that
next
was John
slide
Finster.
shows your donors.
So
the
John
community.
Finster, people in the community.
Right.
John is a barber, and I was like, I got this little boy, and he just, oh my God, he just needs a haircut so bad. And he was just like, okay, just send him over here. And every time I needed that, he'd be like, yeah, we got it. Don't worry about it. This
That's
little boy
wonderful.
that's in the picture goes to South. He had a sister. I think she's in a later slide too. Mom worked 10, 12, 13 hours a day at a gas station to pay rent and her car payment and insurance. There was nothing left.
And I bet not.
There was nothing left. She had 2 kids and she busted her butt.
Right.
There was nothing left. Now they're doing great now, but about 4 years we took care of back to school, Christmas, because those are the things that just kind of don't happen.
Those were the
Right.
extras.
Those were the extras. They just don't happen. So we've got amazing donors that step in. We've got a guy that if I call, I'll be like, I need a size 8 boy shoe.
Right.
And he's a man, so he knows he knows that he's gonna go buy a size 8 shoe for a middle school or high school boy. He's
Right.
gonna take his time, and he's very sincere about it.
Oh, that's awesome. So the big thing, though, is reading, right?
Yes.
The tutoring, the math and reading, because without math and reading skills, there won't be any success.
Right.
No.
Because, I mean, just from the mere beginning of our lives, say you want to go get a job, they're going to give you an application to fill out, or you'll have to do one online. If you can't even read what you're supposed to put in the blank, you're in trouble. So that is a huge part of I called it a
Absolutely.
foundation
Absolutely.
of your program. The
Absolutely.
mentoring is huge
Absolutely.
to bring them out and to help them know that they have worth
Absolutely.
and value, right?
Absolutely.
That they matter.
Absolutely.
But now giving them the tools to succeed is the educational
Right.
aspect. So talk about that a little bit.
Awesome. So it sounds good, like you said, to say, hey guys, you just go to school and do great and you're going to have a good life. But if something traumatic has happened in my life and my family, divorce, mom, dad leaving, some kids, all parents are gone. I've talked about a couple of situations where there's no parents. They were being raised by grandparents. So think about that grandma that now has these three children to take care of. And she's got to go back and do homework now. She's got to go back and do
Right.
homework with 3 kids. Not let alone feed them, clothe them, provide shelter. And then she's going through her own medical struggles. And so the educational part was falling behind. And then, like I said, when they got to middle school, she couldn't do the work.
Right.
That was going to be my question, is how many times do you find families where the parents may want to help, but they don't understand
They
the
don't.
assignments?
They don't. Beyond 3rd and 4th grade, and anybody out there that's listening, if your child is in 5th grade and you pull out their homework,
You can't do
a
it.
lot
can't
of times
do
we
it.
can't even turn on. I mean, you can turn on the computer and you watch these children go through these different apps and get to where they're supposed to be, and I'm sitting there like,
You did what? What? Where did you go? How did you do that?
And they've been raised with a tablet or electronic device in their hands.
Yes, they have.
They've been raised in this computer technology, and they have left the parents so far behind.
Right.
And so when you're talking about a child that needs help and support and education, and you're standing there and you're just like, well, just do your work. Just do your work.
Yeah.
Parents.
Right.
And they're looking at you like, Mama, you can't even do my work. So how
Exactly.
you expect for me to know how to do the work?
me to do it if you can't do it.
Right.
Right.
And it happens. It happens a lot. So, and that was kind of how the tutoring program came into play. After COVID, there was my nephew, as a matter of fact, at West Middle, and he was struggling really bad. And so I was trying to help him because I was off during the day. I was still working at the radio station. And so I had an opportunity. He had somebody at home with him that could help him tutor, but I couldn't do his math. And so we had to hire a tutor. And then the tutor was helping him with the math, but he was still struggling so bad in school. And so, we were talking to the staff, and I was like, well, do you have any resources, guys? I mean, this is not rational. You
Right.
got thousands of kids sitting at home that are failing.
Right.
They're missing 2 years of school. What in the world are they going to do when they go back to school?
Right.
And so it was time for school to get back in, and had a conversation with the superintendent after many levels of complaining. And I think he's a wonderful man. He was like, if you bring me a proposal, we'll look into it. And I think he was just wanting me to go away and shut up.
So the next,
don't go away and shut up.
the next slide is your Angel Wings
Yes.
Foundation tutoring growth chart.
Yes.
So that really took off because it's kind of like if you're ever in a group or a civic group or even a church group and you have a great idea or a vision for something, what do you hear? Well, that sounds great. You go ahead and run with it, right? So that's kind of basically what you heard. But the good news is, wow, I can see from 21 to 2022, talk about your tutoring program and how the school district has come alongside to help you with that.
Well, we came back. He said, I need that program at Third Creek. I said, okay, but can we do it at West as well? He said, yes, but I really need you at Third Creek and East. So the first 2 years, we started at Third Creek and East. Third Creek and West Middle. We eventually added East Middle. So right now, we're probably, I'm saying over 200 kids in 23, 24. I didn't add that year.
Wow.
Because we're currently still in it, but we're well over 300 or close to 300 students that we tutor
That's huge.
on
Y'all
a weekly basis.
You know, how is it that we don't know that your foundation is doing this? Y'all, this is big.
People that know me know. Because this is my baby. This is what we talk about. This is what I do. And a lot of times people see me and they see me with children and they don't understand why. Well, that's a lot of the reason why. And so, again, there's lots of organizations in the community. Again, we've been here for 10 years and we work. And a lot of times when you're and I work in marketing, but it's really hard for you to toot your own horn. I'm sure Isaiah knows because his family's donated clothes and different things when I was at the radio station. So when you're with me, I'm constantly asking for stuff and making sure that people are being supported and having my children come in for tours and things like that. But one of the things that we do, like I said, we work. And a lot of times when you're working in an organization, you're working. And so we have a ton of volunteers. We have paid staff with the tutoring because it got to the point that we got to pay people to do this math. We don't know how to do it.
Exactly. So somebody's got to know how to do it.
So the young lady that's on the slide now, her name is Cindy Flores. I met Cindy. We were at a program at Statesville High School working with some of the girls up at the high school because they missed a big gap. They were like, we need somebody to talk to these girls. These girls they act like 7th grade girls, but they're in high school now. And so we started doing a program over at the high school, and Cindy was there. So she's been working with me now for 3 years, teaching math.
Gosh,
she's up at West Middle. So that was one of the things. So we try to provide, if we think they need money, we try to give them jobs. We find people that need different things done in their homes and communities to make sure that they're still getting the things that they need. We operate in West Middle, Third Creek Middle, and East Middle. So if there's any child out there that needs tutoring and homework help, we are there. And then we turn those into volunteers too. So they go back and they mentor down on the lower levels, reading to the kids.
That's the way you achieve a change in a community because you know, it's one thing being served, but if you don't give back, you don't grow.
And when you teach these children
to teach, learn concept, you know, because as you're teaching, you're learning, continuing to learn.
And it's crazy when the exposure, I'm going to go back and talk about the exposure. When we take kids on these field trips, again, these are children that never get to go anywhere. So when you're kind of confined to your house because you don't have transportation, or you're confined to your community, because you're poverty stricken a lot of times, you're in your neighborhood. So if your neighborhood is not necessarily the best place to be, you're getting a lot of exposure from people you probably don't need to be exposed to. So operating, and we keep the kids until 5 o'clock in the afternoons, and then we try to support them with other sports and events and activities. You guys know last week I had these 3 girls that desired to follow me home, and I had a meeting with the women's club, and they were like, hey, hey, let's go. Yesterday I picked
That
them up.
was
They were
great,
like,
though, to see
do we
them.
have a meeting today? No, we don't have a meeting today. That food
funny.
was really good. And I'm sitting here like, they were like, I really like that house. And it's just...
When is your next?
Right.
When is our
When
next
is
meeting?
our next meeting?
I like
They
that.
will never understand. They would have never known anything about the Statesville Women's
love it.
Club.
That is
but
so
they
wonderful.
see this great group of women in the community that is doing work. Because again, you guys are behind the scenes too. So you do a lot that people don't know about. Again, it's just bringing that next generation home. And so for me, you can't do anything in your community if you don't educate the children.
That's exactly
If you don't
right.
teach that next generation how to come up the right way,
Yeah.
we pray. We do all kinds of stuff that, they may not get exposure to in school. And people are like, oh, well, they should go. Everybody, if they don't go to church, it sounds good to say, well, they should be getting this at church. Well, sounds good. But if they don't go to church.
And the other thing, and they should be getting it at home. Well,
Right, but they're not.
What was is not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore.
And
You're
it is
exactly
what
right.
it is, and you can talk about it, and you can beat it to death, and you can run circles around it, around the why. But when you grab a child and you bring them up,
And you do the
work, which is what I really think God intends for us to do
Right.
anyway, then
Yeah, like the
that's
Power
just
Cross motto: bring up a child in the way he should go,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
when he's older, he'll not depart from
Absolutely.
it. So
And we've
that's,
seen that
that's
with
what
some of
you're
these
doing.
kids, yeah.
That's the same thing.
When I tell you some of these babies, I have so many stories, and I'm just excited.
That's all great.
Well, this is such a wonderful opportunity. What can we do, or what can the community do to support you? I know you have lots of opportunities for sponsorship.
So
Right.
the simplest thing right now with the tutoring, we try to feed these children a snack and a drink every day before they start tutoring. You got to think about it. They come to school at 7:00 in the morning, and we're keeping them to 5
All day.
Lunch is
Lunch.
Yeah.
and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So we give them a snack. So if there's at either one of those schools, if you want to make a donation, just drop it in and say you're leaving it for Angel Wings. And that's anything, snacks, drinks, whatever. You can make a monetary donation, and I think we have the address on another slide. If you want to do more than that and you want to sponsor a child for tutoring, tutoring is $42 a week, and we try to keep it low. So it's $42 a week. So over the course of a month, $160. And a lot of us spend that on eating out in a month. If you really want to do something in the life of a child, write a check. It's $160.
Right.
That will service that child for that month. If you want to do more than that, do it for 8 months. We're in school for 8 months. So if you want to do that, that would be huge. And one of the things that we're facing this year is we're working off the COVID grants. So some of those grants are going to go away. So we're busting butt right now trying to find people that want to donate and want to give money, because we know that next year we're going to be struggling.
Right.
And what's going to happen is, we're servicing 3 schools. If we can't service 3 schools, we're going to have to probably scale back.
Right.
And instead of serving 50 kids at a school in a month, we'll be serving 10.
Right.
And it just is what it is. So then people will have to wait, or they just won't be able to participate.
So you've got an event coming up in August.
We have an amazing
Tell us about
event.
that.
Yes.
This is 10 years that my beautiful baby has been gone from us. And again, her birthday was in August. The celebration started in August. The foundation was established in August. So in August this year, we're going to host a gala. The tickets are $50. I am looking for some table captains if you guys are interested. We're going to celebrate her living legacy again. We've got some awards that we want to do for some of our volunteers that have donated things over the years. We've got some children that we want to celebrate. And basically, it's a fundraiser. We've got to make some money.
Right.
We got to make some money so that we can continue doing this great work.
Okay. So what's the date on that?
The
August?
date on that is August 23rd. Her birth date, it's a beautiful birthday present for Naya. You can list the check however you want to. The date on that is Friday, August 23rd at the Civic Center.
Okay, so save the date on
Save
your
the date on your
Save the
calendar,
date.
guys.
Yeah.
And I'll be putting some more information out there. I'll make sure I get you guys some information. Her birth date is August 22nd. So it was just fitting that date was available for us.
Right.
So we're super, super, super excited. Of course, volunteers, donations for that event in particular. We will do a sponsorship booklet if anybody wants to. So I'll be out in the community looking for sponsors and those kinds of things.
Right.
But guys, there's so many opportunities to donate and volunteer. You can find my number on the slide, but it's 980-759-4114. And the mailing address is 155 East Broad Street, Box 179 in Statesville, 28625. Again, Angel Wings Foundation, we work in this community, but we have also sponsored children in Gastonia, Mecklenburg County. We won't turn anybody down,
Right.
but most of the children that we service are local.
Right.
And so this is a huge opportunity to be able to truly do the work that I think a lot of us say that we do every day.
Right.
And if you don't physically have the hands-on wherewithal to want to work with a 12-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, or even sometimes a 17 and 18-year-old.
Right.
And a lot of times those are the most needy. Guys, jobs, if you have a job, I do so much. If you guys are on my pages, sharing with them different opportunities, because again, when you're in a hole, a lot of times you might not hear about the job that they have over here or you have over here. So same thing, shoot me those information if you're looking for a teen, a young person, if you're looking for volunteers or whatever your organization does, and just simply to stand in the gap and support, please just let me know. Again,
Yeah.
this is Kimberly
So-
Wasson.
So the volunteer aspect too, it's another opportunity to get those young people out helping others, which builds their character.
Absolutely.
And also exposes them to new and different experiences and people,
And people.
that's going to kind of broaden their
Right.
horizon,
Right.
and have them kind of get out of
Right.
that
Right.
you know, culture.
Your circle.
Yeah.
Everybody has a circle, a sphere
Right.
of,
Yeah.
of influence.
They
period.
do.
Yeah,
And so
that's
when I
true.
tell you, when a kid meets a Dana or a kid meets a Shelley, and they're like, "Oh, this is nice. This is a great organization. These people go out and help people in the community."
Right.
It makes you feel special.
And you know what I am seeing here, Kim, is that this ministry foundation, you've got a huge buy-in from the community. I'm looking at your list of sponsors: Iredell Statesville Schools, Dynamic Marketing Solutions, The Y, Sawyer Insurance, Pfeiffer's, Statesville Record and Landmark, Drug and Alcohol Coalitions of Iredell County Sheriff's Department, Statesville Police Department, Fire Department, Faith United, Christian Outreach, Circle of Giving, Rutledge and Bingham. I mean, and I'm sure there's even more. So folks, just be encouraged that if you feel like this is really speaking to your heart, then reach out to Kim. And whether it's as my husband and I say, scratching a check, that's awesome. But if it's being the hands and feet to make a difference in a child's life, do that. And it might not be tutoring. It might just be meeting with kids and going on field trips and being chaperone, right? You need chaperones
All the
there.
time.
So, that can be a huge way to participate in this foundation. And so your funding, I just wanted to kind of go over that because that's always a question that I have, is you get funding from grants.
Yes, ma'am.
You're obviously doing COVID grants, school district contract, and also donations. So once again, if that's on your heart to donate, please do. And that wonderful fundraiser in August, even if you can't attend, scratch a check, buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket and donate it to somebody else.
Right, you can donate it, or just buy a ticket because it's a fundraiser. So
is.
if $50 is what you can do, that would be awesome as
huge.
well. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today,
Well, I want to
Kimberly.
thank you guys so much for the invitation. Like I said, this is my baby.
Yeah.
So I just think that you guys are seeing it and know about it.
Well,
and
it's
spreading the word.
amazing.
It is amazing what you're doing, and it has definitely hit my heart. I mean, this is such good work, and I know that Shelley has a wrap up for us. So I'm gonna let Shelley wrap up.
So as we celebrate Kim Wasson's foundation, I also want to celebrate Statesville Women's Club a bit. Of course, Kim is one of our newer members. Saying woo, woo, woo. So we're kind of doing a member moment and a Women Making a Difference here segment. But I wanted to also shout out to thank you to ISS Cats construction class, because they are currently wrapping up, hopefully soon, the accessibility ramp that's being built at the rear of our building, which is a big thing, because it enables people that can't do stairs to get into the clubhouse. And also, hey, y'all, don't forget that the Statesville Women's Club, our clubhouse, is amazing. It's gorgeous. It's also a venue space, and it's great for meetings, gatherings, celebrations. And with the addition of the deck area and the ramp, you can actually use the parking area as an outdoor patio. In our fundraiser, our last fundraiser, we got some party tent. Well, a party tent, and then strung lights to the building. It was very cool. So
it was cool.
That's going to be a nice addition. So if you wanted to reserve or request a tour for the clubhouse, just go to Statesville Women's Club, and it's WOMANS.org. You can check our calendar. You can actually click a button and contact us, and we'll get back with you. Also, I wanted to say that the Education and Environment team is collecting new and gently used young children's board or picture books. So we're talking young readers, or maybe looking at a book, folks. So, and they're going to be distributed to the Iredell County Partnership for Young Children. So that's a little thing they're doing. Also, don't forget, we've got a geranium sale coming up in April. The pickup is Saturday the 13th. And you can go on our website again to order. We only have salmon and white left in the plants.
In the potted plants.
Right. But we've got hanging baskets, which are gorgeous, still available. And so you can call Sandra and or text 704-775-2109 to place an order. And also, hey, a social coming up, March Mingle. So if you're a Women's Club member or considering joining the Women's Club, put that on your calendar. It's going to be Tuesday the 26th of this month at Wine Maestro. We're going to be there from 5 until probably when they kick us out. 5 to 6:30. And anyone is welcome. And come and mingle with us and learn about the club if you like. And also shout out to SOW Sow, or Sew. I say Sew because he's sewing, such wonderful things into our community by doing these
Absolutely.
These podcasts. We're in our second year of a Servant's Heart podcast, and you can find us on YouTube, but we also do have links on our website as well. So, we're just really excited at what's going on with the Women's Club, and just appreciate Isaiah, who's the producer extraordinaire.
Yes, he is.
Extraordinaire.
And we're kind of running a little bit long on this podcast, but we appreciate everyone listening and tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
And thank you.
Thank you so much,
for joining
Kim.
us. Thank you so much, ladies.
You've been listening to A Servant's Heart, sponsored by the Statesville Women's Club. We are located at 515 West End Avenue, Statesville. To contact us, you can email us at statesvillewomensclub@gmail.com or call 704-761-8255. 888-8208. Our website is statesvillewomensclub.org. Remember, that's Statesville Women's Club with an A.org.